James Buchanan, the 15th President of the United States, is often considered one of the worst presidents in American history. His presidency from 1857 to 1861 was marked by his inability to address the growing tensions between the North and South, which eventually led to the Civil War. Let's break down the key reasons why Buchanan is viewed so negatively. James Buchanan was born on April 23, 1791, in Pennsylvania. He had a long political career before becoming president, serving as a congressman, senator, and Secretary of State. Despite his extensive experience, Buchanan's presidency was fraught with challenges and failures. For example, the Dred Scott decision. One of the most controversial events during Buchanan's presidency was the Dred Scott decision. Buchanan supported the Supreme Court's ruling, which stated that African Americans could not be citizens and that Congress had no authority to prohibit slavery in the territories. This decision further polarized the nation and angered many Northerners. Next up, there was the Kansas-Nebraska Act and Bleeding Kansas. Buchanan's handling of the Kansas-Nebraska Act and the subsequent violence in Kansas, known as Bleeding Kansas, was another major failure. The act allowed settlers in Kansas and Nebraska to decide whether they would allow slavery, leading to violent clashes between pro-slavery and anti-slavery factions. Buchanan's support for the pro-slavery Lecompton Constitution in Kansas further alienated Northern Democrats and intensified sectional tensions. As if social unrest were not enough, there was also an economic crisis. The Panic of 1857, a financial crisis that led to widespread business failures and high unemployment, occurred during Buchanan's presidency. Buchanan's response to the crisis was seen as inadequate, and his policies did little to alleviate the economic hardships faced by many Americans. Then, the fact that Lincoln came next means we all know what happened at the end of Buchanan's term: the secession and the onset of the Civil War. Perhaps the most significant reason Buchanan is considered one of the worst presidents is his failure to prevent the secession of Southern states. After Abraham Lincoln's election in 1860, 7 Southern states declared their secession from the Union. Buchanan believed that secession was illegal, but also thought that the federal government had no authority to forcefully prevent it. His inaction and lack of decisive leadership allowed the secession crisis to escalate, ultimately leading to the Civil War. Buchanan's presidency is often criticized for his inability to address the critical issues of his time, particularly the growing divide over slavery. His actions, or lack thereof, are seen as contributing to the nation's descent into civil war. Historians consistently rank Buchanan as one of the worst presidents in American history due to his failure to provide effective leadership during a period of national crisis. James Buchanan's presidency is marked by his support for the Dred Scott decision, mishandling of the Kansas-Nebraska Act, inadequate response to the Panic of 1857, and failure to prevent the secession of Southern states. These factors collectively contribute to his reputation as one of the worst presidents in U.S. history. Like, follow, and subscribe for more stuff you really ought to know about, including American history, culture, and more. Take care. Bye now.